Welcome back to the Jukebox. I'm Duke McKenzie, former three-time world champion.
I like that.
Do you like that?
The jukebox.
I'm going to say it again. Wait.
Wicked, go on.
Welcome back to the Jukebox. I'm Duke McKenzie, the former three-time world champion. I'm joined with my fellow former world champion, the cruiserweight champion of the world. In my opinion, the best cruiserweight champion in the world. One of the best, certainly, since Evander Holyfield. The legend that is Johnny Nelson. Johnny, good to see you, mate.
First of all, I'm glad the jukebox is now up and running because you are one of the unsung. You look at British boxing, you look at the fighters that we've had. You're one of the most decorated fighters that the public actually. I'm thinking, why don't he get it? He's from the UK for what he's done. So for now, the knowledge, the stuff you know, the stuff you've even gotten, these guys don't even know. So you could throw you in a room with a bunch of fighters and know nothing about them when you get in there, but you'd know everything about every character if asked because of the experience you've got every side of the sport. So good on you, man. Good, big respect.
Cheers, I appreciate that, champ. So let's get down to more important matters. Yeah. Let's start off with you and your career. No, let's get it right. You and your career. Tell me a little bit about your best win, your greatest win. What gave you the best sense of satisfaction? Winning.
Well, the first great satisfaction, and I know it's really small, is when I boxed a kid called Ian Bullock for the British title.
Right.
It was in Derby. It was at the start. Was it in Derby? No, in Bolsover. Sorry, it was in Stoke. He's from Bolsover.
Should have had that last fight, mate.
And Brendan made me go to the press conference by myself. Now, Ian Bullock was from a mining village called Bolsover, and it was old school. Brendan said, put your big, nice long coat on, shirt and tie, and I want you to go to the press conference by yourself. I'm like, Brendan, you're sending me into the Lions Den, man. He went, Johnny, you go by yourself. I want to give them a false sense of security. I said, what do you mean? When you go in there, they're going to think, not even your own trainer thinks you're going to win. Because Ian beat me as an amateur.
Right.
And so now I'm British champion. I've got to defend against him. So I'm like, Brendan, he said, get up there by yourself and stand tall, swagger straight in there. I'm like, shit. Went to this miners club. They were all outside. The press are there and everything, all outside. I pulled up and they all started laughing when I pulled up.
Why?
Fucking hell, his trainer's not with him. He thinks he's going to lose. And when they said, I'm like, shit, bro, you don't want that. I thought, as long as you don't touch me. And then walked into the press conference and I'm walking in, still got that fucking spear down his shorts. Yeah, man, all this sort of stuff. Like, oh, God, this is... So I was getting all that shit there. Yeah. So I walked in, sat down, they gave me the abuse. I sat there and the press were asking, and somebody shouted out, so Nelson, if your own trainer thought you're doing, why is he not here? And Brendan schooled me, I just said, I don't know, he was busy. And they all started laughing. And because I thought, I don't want these people to jump me, man. I'm in a working men's club in Bolsover. So I'm like, did the press conference, took the pictures and left. So they kind of left me and didn't jump me because they thought, we've just done him. We've just totally ruined him, called him every name under the sun, right. Done his head in because his trainers that come. So I went back and said, Bren, I told him what happened. Brendan said, marvellous. I went, why? He said, because they think they've dropped the guard. They think they've got it won.
Right.
I went, okay. Anyway, the fight came. We're in the town hall. I knocked him out. And I mean, really? I didn't knock him down. I knocked him out like a cartoon. He slid on the bottom ropes. I think it was the second round, and he was out cold. And it was a riot in the place. And me and Brendan were stuck in the dressing room for about 2 hours. There's blood outside and everything. We're all fighting outside, and that was the sweetest win because this guy was one of the guys that beat me in one of the. I had 13 amateur fights. I won 3. And he was the guy that beat me. Really? And the amount of racial abuse I got when I was fighting him, you black, all this sort of shit, I thought, that was a sweet feeling. Sweet feeling.
Isn't it crazy how the best amateurs don't make the best pros? You know, I had several guys that beat me in the amateurs. I'd lost 17 odd fights in the amateurs, loads. But I'd lost 17 back-to-back just before I turned pro. And one of the guys that had beaten me 4 times before I'd beaten him. And it wasn't until the very last fight we'd had, when we turned senior, a guy called Stevie Nolan, that I actually managed to beat him. I mean, he went on to beat me after that, but my eyes were on turning pro by then, so my mind wasn't really on the game. But it's crazy how that works out.
It is, man. But you look at what we're out here in Dubai. The IBA, have created a format so you can see the talented amateurs that we never see from Eastern Europe. they gave him an opportunity to put them on the world stage. Now the ones that stood out were Lomachenko and Usyk, who were outstanding amateurs and went on to be outstanding professionals. And Lomachenko wasn't. I think he underachieved as a professional because he was so much better. I think he turned pro too late. Now these amateurs here that are dipping the toe in to let people see it. It's letting the world see how good these guys are, and in a way letting them step into that professional world at a time when they actually wouldn't do. So you're seeing the real talent that's here, and eventually it's going to emerge that most of your world champions, I reckon 60% of them will be from Eastern Europe,
right?
In my opinion,
right.
And so it's just a good way to introduce him. But I just say, it's not very often you get a good amateur, an outstanding amateur makes an outstanding pro. Not very often. Look at Old Harrison, outstanding amateur.
Sure.
He underachieved as a professional, or did he underachieve?
Yeah.
And he was just a good amateur.
Yeah.
Then you look at AJ. He had a short amateur career, but then he did amazing things as a professional.
Listen,
Look at me. I had 13 amateur fights. I won 3.
Yeah.
I retired setting a record of defences as a world
pro,
champion.
sure.
And I really believed I was the best in the world. So the establishment itself, because, and you want to know what it's like, in the amateurs, you get dodgy decisions, you get referees ripping fighters off, and you think, and there's no TV cameras there, and you think, come on, now I've seen that many times. And so the amateurs, everybody thinks if I'm a good amateur, I'm going to make a good pro. No, it just gives you a great signing on fee, and you get paid more for your first few fights than the others got. My first pay packet was £190.
Yeah, mine was a little bit more than that. mine was a little bit more than that. But I mean, like you say, my brothers were classic examples. Particularly my brother Dudley was a classic example of being an outstanding amateur, and then not cutting it in the pro games. But I guess one's a business and the other one's a sport, right?
Which one ran the boxing club?
Clinton. That was Clinton. Clinton, my older brother. That's right, Clinton, my older brother.
So how old was Clinton?
Clinton's just turned 70.
Right. So I walked in his gym. As a young lad, I walked in the gym, and I remember seeing him there, and I thought, because I moved to London for a short while. Yeah, I moved to London for a short while, I thought, and I was like half in, half out boxing, thinking, nah, mate, it's not for me. I walked in the gym and they were sparring, everybody's sparring, and I thought, I think he was taking them on the pads or doing something. They were doing something in there, and I thought, nah, man, I just watched, I went, just come to watch. And I bounced, I thought, nah. So Brendan brainwashed me into boxing.
Really?
Because if I went in and what I saw, I'm like, no, this looks painful. And
Isn't that crazy? You could have been a Croydon boy. My brother might have taken you to the world title. Who knows?
Well, it could have been, but I needed a brain job doing on me. That was my problem.
Back to more important things. Let's address this issue with AJ and Jake Paul. What's your take on it, Johnny?
I think the pressure is on AJ. 1% of 1% think Jake Paul has got a chance, and anybody else that tells you differently, they're lying. They don't really think he's going to do it. So you're going to watch this to see. Most people watch this to see Jake Paul get his arse given to him. In reality, and they'll also watch it to see how AJ is, because AJ. He's done it many times before. He's dropped the ball. He's not performed to the best of his ability and lost or got knocked out. Daniel Dubois, Andy Ruiz. I think when he boxed Usyk, you can't blame him for that because Usyk was outstanding. But he can do it. So people are thinking, what? His last fight we saw him on his face against Dubois, and so the question marks above AJ's head.
Right.
Which AJ will turn up, and even if the wrong AJ turns up, he should still beat Jake Paul. Now, if my worry is AJ going into the fight and underestimating Jake Paul, and it's hard. It's like you've boxed before, where your original opponent pulls out, they throw a standing in, and you think, and your performance is worse because you can't bring your A game to it because you think, shit, the kid's not very good. You get rid of him, but it's harder than what it should be in real life. Right. And so I think with AJ, he'll struggle to respect Jake Paul as a threat. And so they're going to be watching AJ. And if Jake Paul gets 15 seconds of success, AJ is going to get vilified. AJ's, oh my goodness. So people are saying he wants to go out there and knock him out. No, he doesn't want to go out there and knock him out. He wants to teach this boy a lesson and torture him. If you're not into boxing and you're hearing this, you think, oh my God, it sounds barbaric. He needs to torture him. We spar with people where you just hit him, dig him in the ribs, and you let him off, leave him breathe a bit, dig him again, and you make him want to go down, and you I'll punch him back up again. He needs to torture him.
Right.
So he says, no mas. No mas. That's what he needs to. And that way, he'll satisfy the public, he'll satisfy himself, and he'll satisfy all those naysayers that say, there you are. And it won't enhance his career at all.
No.
I don't think it'll be bad for his career because Ali did it against a kickboxer. Sure. We forget about it. Mm-hmm. But what AJ's done is done a great business move where the whole world and a bigger audience are seeing him. What AJ's done is made 50 mil. DAZN's made 10 mil.
Not a bad night's work, right?
And we'd all do it.
Oh, in a heartbeat.
Yeah, there's nobody in this room or nobody in the world is saying, no, I won't do it. So all those fans are saying, no, it's disgusting, it's a joke. Yeah, it is.
I wish they'd offer me a fight against Jake Paul for that kind of money.
That's what I'm saying. Everybody would do it. So it's great to have this moral stand, but in reality, these men have got to put food, and AJ might not need the money. But that's not the point. He's got a chance to secure the future of his grandkids and their grandkids and their grandkids. He's got a chance to. Why wouldn't he do it? Why should? And realistically, where else is he going to get paid that kind of money unless he boxes Usyk or Tyson Fury? Because I bet you in his next fight, if he's in Africa or wherever it is, he doesn't even get a quarter of that.
No, of course not.
So where else is he going to earn that sort of money? So why wouldn't he do it?
Moving on a little bit, let's touch on the Eubank Benn 2 fight, if we can call it that. I mean, I thought Eubank was shocking in that fight. There's another way I can describe it. Absolutely shocking because he was weight drained. Once that gown came off and took one look at him, I knew, because, we walked that line. You know what it is to be weight drained, Johnny. Not to eat, not to sleep, not to drink, it's a horrible position to be in. So he sold out, obviously, because he wanted the financial gain. But then in that very next breath, you see him on a stretcher in a hospital, on what looked like a life support machine. He was all, had all the facial mask on, the drip in his eye. How dangerous is that?
Well, so the question is this: who do you blame? One, you blame Chris. Two, you blame the governing bodies for letting it go ahead after they saw what happened the first time. After they saw how he got down to weight the first time. We know we'd get a fine for that. After they know what they let him get away with the first time and they let it happen again. Exactly the same contractual conditions, exactly the same. If this man publicly said I was in hospital for 3 days, my big toenail fell off, I was that exhausted. It was hit and run, they were saying XYZ in the ambulance and hospital. So everybody knew, it wasn't a secret, but they let it happen again. So I wouldn't just leave it on Chris's toes. I'd leave it on the toes of the governing body. And I love the British Boxing Board of Control because I think they do an amazing job most of the time. But now and again, they drop a bollock. And this is a time when they dropped a bollock. So they should have said, no, it's not happening. And that's it, cut. Because if the worst came to worst and something happened to Chris, then our sport today, it was not a story that'll just disappear. No. And unfortunately, they have to play their big risk. I don't believe Chris Eubank will box again. I do believe that, and I spoke over there to do it in front of Napa. And I love Napa. I love Chris. They said, "What do you think?" I said, "I don't think he'll box again." And Chris and Napa said, "Well, Johnny, it wasn't because of the fight that he lost. It was his medical condition." I said, "Are you telling me that the 2 times when he rinsed his body down to get down to the weight had no contribution to the condition that you say he had 3 fights ago?" Because you can't tell me that. No. It could only make it worse. It can't make it better. Yeah. And so when he's saying I had nothing left, straight away I thought if the conditions are exactly the same, it's going to happen again. So I wasn't surprised it happened. And now it turned out. But they both got paid handsomely. These two, I think, he lives out here. He lives a great life out here. Yeah. He's got kids on the way. Brilliant. He's got a family. He's got other priorities now.
Needs to walk away, doesn't he?
We will not see him again.
No. Needs to walk away from sport, doesn't he?
He's got fighters outside underneath him. He needs to walk away.
Yeah. Listen, it's been a pleasure, Johnny, as always, mate. And I look forward to interviewing you again once my YouTube channel takes off.
Come on, Jukebox, baby. Get on the Jukebox. That's how we roll. What's her name, the Jukebox? So, you know what? I came out here, I saw his name there, Duke McKenzie. I went, yes, Duke's here. We're in the same hotel. Oh, yeah. He's in a different hotel. Sure.
Cheers, John. Thanks, brother. Thank you, mate. I appreciate it.